Tessa Blago, speaking of liars, cheaters, and stealers.
Rod Blagojevich may be in big, I mean, he was already in trouble.
Yeah. Right.
Now he may be in big trouble. Here's the deal. His former aide, his former right-hand man, John Harris, has pled guilty in a plea deal with prosecutors. He's turning tails, and he's talking about his deal with Blagojevich. He is saying that, and he's willing to testify to this, at times the defendant assisted Blagojevich's efforts to carry out the scheme, this is the pay-for-play scandal, by suggesting means by which Blagojevich could secure personal benefits for himself in exchange for appointing a United States senator, conducting factual research relating to the scheme, and counseling Blagojevich on carrying out the scheme. He's admitting that there was this whole run-up where Blagojevich was trying to figure out, how do I personally benefit from naming a senator to replace Barack Obama, among many other things. Yeah. And John Harris's attorney says there will never be a better witness than John Harris. He's prepared to tell the whole truth. And
it's sort of like a snitch in the mafia. Like they've got a good source here who's basically turning and saying, listen, this is what we were doing. This is how we were doing it. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, absolutely. So now the question is, how does Rod Blagojevich, in all of his public appearances where he insists the truth will come to light, how does he fight his former right-hand man saying he's a liar?
Yeah, and even and again, as we deal with a country that's doling out trillions of dollars to our politicians to spend on roads, bridges, and things that we know nothing of. And we go to recovery.gov, and I can't see anything there below $15 million. So basically, they track it to $15 million. And after I get the $15 million, I'll just give you some and give Barry Ritholtz some. He's going to be. I want to give some money away. Stephen A. Smith joins the conversation. Blago may be toast here by the most recent go, Stephen. But I can't even. I can't get a handle on whether Blago is one of a kind, which I guess on the one hand he clearly is, or whether he's just the worst of the kind of many.
Well, he's not the worst, but he's certainly one of a kind, and when you take into account his hairdo, I don't see anybody with that hairdo. Let's throw that out the way right now.
We'll give him that.
But in reality, he was toast from the very beginning. Number one, they had, wiretaps. They had him on tape saying certain things, and then on top of it all, he was so vehement in his denials. You know that when you do that with the government, they are going to come after you even harder. He went on A View, absolutely embarrassed himself. He's been embarrassing himself with everything that he said. Saturday Night Live did a skit on him, absolutely hysterical. And now you've got his former chief of staff turning against him, literally talking about how, when he approached the governor and said, this nonprofit organization, it's a situation where you could end up earning from $200,000 to $300,000 a year. And the governor replied, is that all? That falls in line with everything that the government was saying that they had on tape in regards to this man. And now the guy has, reached a plea agreement. The man has been toast from day one. He never had a chance.
Hey, Jonathan?
Hey, Dylan, you know who the big winner is in all this?
Who?
Patrick Fitzgerald. Because when he announced, when he arrested Blagojevich and put out his complaint, we here, I should say, on the editorial board, and there were a lot of people who were thinking, where's the there? And what's taking so long in going from, the arrest to the formal indictment or complaint? I'm sorry, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't come up with all the legal.
We'll get Elliot Spitzer back. Elliot's great at this stuff. We'll get him on the phone.
By getting John Harris to cop this plea and to basically spill all the beans, he makes it clear that Patrick Fitzgerald was right to do what he did to arrest Blagojevich when he did. Because remember, he said that it was Blagojevich's trying to auction off the Senate seat that caused him to jump into action.
But I guess contextually, Jonathan, Contessa, you as well, what is your sense of the uniqueness of Blagojevich beyond his hairdo and the commonality of Blagojevich in terms of his morals and how he conducts business as a politician?
So you want to indict all politicians?
I don't want to indict all politicians, but it's not that I want to indict all politicians. It's that I don't understand why politicians refuse to adopt 21st century technology for they're using a 19th century model for government in a 21st century society at a time when there's so much evidence of political misdeed that at the very least, why would you not accept some transparency when at least some of you... Go ahead.
Technology is not going to keep politicians from being corrupt. This is an age-old story. Power corrupts, and it doesn't matter what kind of tools you implement.
So let me give you an example. Can I give you an example?
Loopholes.
Okay, so let me give you an example. If we use the same technology that they have available at Google or at Boeing or at IBM or at any of the major corporations in this world who have incredible capabilities, and we basically tagged every penny that came into the federal government, into state governments, into municipal governments, tagged every penny that left federal governments, let me finish, left state governments, left municipal governments.
Right, I get the point.
And then we started analyzing that data as they do on Wall Street every day for outliers, for exorbitant spend. All of a sudden, why are we spending $500,000, Bob, on computer toner in the middle of Texas and there's nobody there?
Wait a minute.
In other words,
Bernie
why?
Madoff,
Let me finish.
But you're making the point. I get the point.
I'm not making. I don't know if I have. My point is this: knowing what we know about politicians' propensity to steal. You're saying they're going to steal anyway, so why bother locking the door? And I'm saying, knowing propensities like Mr. Blagojevich's exist, why would we as taxpayers in this country not demand the adoption of every potential security measure available, including all of the modern technology that exists to track money, when we know that the people we're sending the money to will do everything they can to steal it, misuse it, and redirect it? Jonathan, go ahead.
You know, yes, you are right. The American people should demand on the federal level, state level, and local level.
Why wouldn't we? Why don't I say why I have to make the case for that?
No, well, we should, but I mean, this is you're talking about starting a revolution because you're asking government to do something that it hasn't done, asking it to, in a lot of cases, be more accountable than it's ever been, and that would require for people, for citizens, for voters to elect people who have that reform-minded agenda to do what you want to do.
But didn't they do that
just talking about it isn't going to make it happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the beginning is the understanding that we even have the capability for Google for government. That unlike even 10 or 15 years ago, where what I'm discussing is not even possible, at least now it can be done. Listen, it's a 2-hour meeting, and the meetings every day.